welcome back to the PI Show, viewers. Before the break, we were talking about the case of Kate Newton, who had a very bad experience at the Casey Hospital. Harry, we're still in the Casey Hospital at the moment. There's another one of Alicia Murphy. Tell us a bit about her.
Yeah, look, tonight we're focusing on
medical negligence.
Medical negligence, but Casey Hospital is featured because the Herald Sun ran one story and then it got dozens of phone calls from other people, so they continued running it. So we're not singling out Casey Hospital as particularly good or bad, but it's in the public domain.
Yes.
And the second person again was a teenager, Elisha Murphy, and she presented at the Casey Hospital with, I think again, headaches, and they asked her whether she'd been drinking or whether she was pregnant. They sent her home.
I don't understand this. Why would you get a headache if you're pregnant? Is that
Tony, don't go there.
So anyway, I guess that's the first thing they ask you, whether you've been drinking or pregnant. It must be a common question.
Well, it's a teenager, so... Okay. And then they sent her home. She had just a blood test initially, and then her symptoms were a lot worse. She went back to hospital, and she was dehydrated. They gave her fluids.
4 litres of fluid, yeah.
And then sent her home again. And then symptoms got worse. Parents took her to another hospital. They did a scan, and she had a blood clot on her brain.
It's astounding. And
they treated her, and the blood clot dissolved, and she's made a good recovery. Does she have a claim?
It's a difficult one, Harry, because you'd need some sort of a permanent injury, you'd think. I guess from a physical point of view, there is none. And from a psychological point of view, she's probably got one.
She could.
Depends
on treatment and presentation.
You need more than 10% under the Wrongs Act. But you know what's astounding about this case? She's gone to this hospital over a period of, 4 or 5 days, you think, give or take? And she's gone down to Monash Medical Centre complaining of these severe headaches. Within 2 hours, they've got a CT scan of it done, and they've got a diagnosis.
And treatment.
Yeah. Yep. It sounds to me a money issue, Harry. Saving on a scan, perhaps.
I think, in fairness, the hospital said she presented with an uncommon condition in an uncommon way. So, again, partly depends on who saw her and what symptoms she presented with and what advice she got.
But, Harry, as uncommon as the condition was, bottom line, the CT scan revealed the condition as being something to do with the brain.
But, Tony, there's a defence under the Wrongs Act which says that if they are reasonably competent in what they're doing according to the peer review situation, then they've got a defence.
Well, in this case, because the Monash Medical Centre organised a CT scan immediately and had a diagnosis within a very short period of time, I'd hazard to guess that the peer group would have done a CT scan, as opposed to sending her home and putting her on fluid and all. Look, it's something we can debate for a while, but it just shows that there's, the system's under pressure, I would have thought. A lot of cases going through the door. There's issues of money. Do you spend money on scans? Do you don't spend money?
Training and who's
and
there
maybe the
and
facilities,
who's on duty. Yeah.
Maybe they don't have the facilities there, or maybe they're just under the pump, who knows?
Yep. And the third case, I think, was again another brain injury case.
That's exactly right.
Of someone who ended up having
a
aneurysm on the brain, a 32-year-old, I think, who...
He actually had it for 5 days, Harry. He's actually very lucky to be alive.
But he again presented at Casey Hospital with some headaches, and I think they diagnosed the situation of dehydration from food poisoning.
That's
the first time.
And went back the second time and they told him the same thing. And so the problem in this case, again, is the presentation's severe headaches and other symptoms and very, very ill. You go once, you go twice.
I think the second time, I think they admit that probably he should have been reviewed by a more senior person.
That's exactly right.
So again, they say, and again, in this case, unusually, they apologised to him.
And they also said they're going to promise to fix the procedures, which I guess means that if someone presents like this in future, they'll probably get a more experienced doctor involved.
But does he have a claim if would an aneurysm have resolved?
Probably, Harry. Probably. It's hard to say. I mean, you'd need more medical evidence about the long-term effects of surgery for an aneurysm. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure.
Let's assume it resolved. Then again, he's got no claim for pain and suffering. He might have claim for loss of wages if he couldn't work for a
But
period
he might
of time.
have it might have that significant psych, the 10%, Harry. You know what I mean?
He could,
Yeah.
with a traumatic.
Look, we had a case years ago where, the fellow was in a coma for 21 days, came out of it and didn't remember anything. You know what I mean?
These are cases where there's little or where there's a reasonable recovery of people in these situations. But
in circumstances
I
of
think
life
you've
and
been
death,
involved
really.
in a case recently where a young infant, it was a cerebral palsy case which settled out of court.
Yeah, that settled for quite a few million, and that's where, you've got midwives and other people involved, and they sort of, I don't know if they're complacent or if they start to get worried about calling gynecologists and obstetricians.
But I think in that case, the gynaecologist was performing 3 births at the same time.
That's right.
So again, there was a problem about facilities or proper care and attention at critical points during a pregnancy. And that's a situation where there's permanent damage to an infant.
Oh, that's a very tragic case.
He, I think, was 7 at the date of settlement.
Yeah, look, he's got long-lasting effects of this. He's not going to have a normal lifestyle, Harry, and he's going to need a lot of care over his life.
But that's where negligence, experts are divided about the cause of cerebral palsy, and I think in that case there was an expert from London.
There was experts all around Australia, Harry, and out of Australia.
And that's where there could be what's called a conspiracy of silence with doctors who don't want to particularly commit to writing their opinion about whether another doctor's been negligent.
There's a debate that's been raging about cerebral palsy for many, many years, and they're very divided in terms of its causes, its effects. And you've got the group that says, it's a medical negligence situation, and the group that says it's just the risks of birth.
And then it's a constitutional defect
Yes.
of giving birth. But, in Victoria, I don't think any cerebral palsy case has gone to verdict in recent times.
No, I don't think that's... I think that's right.
There's been a number of settlements out of court.
That's exactly
but
right.
No settlements.
Harry, we're going to have to go to a sponsors break.
We're going to a sponsors break, and we'll be back for Kathy's mailbag or the mailbag, or
Blondes Incorporated.
you say Blondes Incorporated. So we'll see you after the break with the mailbag segment.
Stay tuned.
Thanks.